Hey winners, hope that you are doing well. We are seeing Customs Act 1962 in the previous video. We have seen from chapter number 17 miscellaneous the sections 141 to section 145. So in this video we are going to see section number 146. So section 146 is of license for customs brokers is very important sections in terms of the customs brokers or who is doing customs clearance work at port ICD. So section 146 license for customs brokers is very important. So in the same, there are some subsections. Subsection 1 is no person shall carry on business as a customs broker relating to the entry or departure of a conveyance or the import or export of goods at any customs station unless such person holds a license granted in this behalf in accordance with the regulations. Subsection 2. The board may make regulations for the purpose of carrying out the provisions of this section, and in particular such regulations may provide for clause A, the authority by which a license may be granted under this section and the period of validity of such license. Clause B, the form of the license and the fees payable therefore. Clause C, the qualifications of persons who may apply for a license and the qualifications of persons to be employed by a licensee to assist him in his work as a customs broker. Clause D, the manner of conducting the examination. Clause D, the manner of conducting the examination. Clause E, the restrictions and conditions, including the furnishing of security by the licensee, subject to which a license may be granted. So say, Clause E, the restrictions and conditions, including the furnishing of security by the licensee, subject to which a license may be granted. Clause F, the circumstance in which a license may be suspended or revoked. Clause G, the appeals, if any, against an order of suspension or revocation of a license and the period within which such appeal may be filed. So, Clause G, the appeals, if any, against an order of suspension or revocation of a license and the period within which such appeal may be filed. So, very important section 146 license for customs broker. So, next section in the chapter number 17 miscellaneous is section 146A is incorporated there. So we are going to see here section 146A, appearance by authorized representative. Appearance by authorized representative. So in the same subsection 1, any person who is entitled or required to appear before an officer of customs or the appellate tribunal in connection with any proceedings under this act otherwise than when required under section 108 to attend personally for examination on oath or affirmation may subject to the power of other provisions of this section appear by an authorized representative. Subsection 2. For the purposes of this section, authorized representative means a person authorized by the person referred to in subsection 1 to appear on this behalf, being Clause A, his relative or a regular employee, or Clause B, a custom broker license under Section 146. Clause C, any legal practitioner who is entitled to practice in any civil court in India. Clause D, any person who is acquired such qualifications as the central government may specify the rules made in this behalf. Subsection 3, notwithstanding anything contained in this section, no person who was a member of a Indian Customs and Central Excise Service Group A and has retired or resigned from such service after having served for not less than 3 years in any capacity in that service shall be entitled to appear as an authorized representative in any proceedings before an officer of customs for a period of 2 years from the date of his retirement or resignation as the case may be. Okay. Subsection 4. No person, clause A, who has been dismissed or removed from government service. Clause B, who is convicted of an offense connected with any proceedings under this act. The Central Excise and Salts Act 1944, first of 1944, the Gold Control Act 1968, 45 of 1968, or the Finance Act 1994, 32 of 1994, or clause C, who has become an insolvent shall be qualified to represent any person under subsection 1 for all times in the case of a person referred to in clause C or for such a time as the principal commissioner of customs or commissioner of customs or the competent authority under the Central Excise and Salts Act 1944, first of 1944, or the Gold Control Act 1968, 45 of 1968, or the Finance Act 1994, 32 of 1994, as the case may be, may by order determine in the case of a person referred to in clause B, and for the period during which the insolvency continues in the case of a person referred to in clause C. So subsection 5, if any person, clause A, who is a legal practitioner is found guilty of misconduct in his professional capacity by any authority entitled to institute proceedings against him, an order passed by that authority shall have effect in relation to his right to appear before an officer of customs or the appellate tribunal as it has in relation to his right to practice as a legal practitioner. Clause B, who is not a legal practitioner is found guilty of misconduct in connection with any proceedings under this act by such authority as may be specified by rules made in this behalf, that authority may direct that he shall henceforth be disqualified to represent any person under subsection 1. Clause C. So, in the section 146A, appearance by authorized representative, there is subsection 6, and subsection 6 is any order or direction under clause B of subsection 4 or clause B of subsection 5 shall be subject to the following conditions, namely, clause A, no such order or direction shall be made in respect of any person unless he has been given a reasonable opportunity of being heard. Clause B, any person against whom any such order or direction is made may within 1 month of making of the order or direction appeal to the board to have the order or direction cancelled. And clause C, no such order or direction shall take effect until the expiration of 1 month from the making thereof, where an appeal has been preferred until the disposal of the appeal. So, very important section, this one also. Section 146A, appearance by authorized representative. Section 147, liability of principal and agent. Section 147, liability of principal and agent. Section 147, liability of principal and agent. In the same, subsection 1, where this act requires anything to be done by the owner, importer, or exporter of any goods, it may be done on his behalf by his agent. Subsection 2. Any such thing done by an agent of the owner, importer, or exporter of any goods shall, unless the contrary is proved, be deemed to have been done with the knowledge and consent of such owner, importer, exporter, so that in any proceedings under this act, the owner, importer, or exporter of the goods shall also be liable as if the thing had been done by himself. Subsection 3. When any person is expressly or impliedly authorized by the owner, importer, or exporter of any goods to be his agent in respect of such goods for all or any of the purposes of this act, such person shall, without prejudice to the liability of the owner, importer, or exporter, be deemed to be the owner, importer, or exporter of such goods for such purposes, including liability, therefore, under this act, provided that where any duty is not levied or is short levied or erroneously refunded on account of any reason other than any willful act, negligence, or default of the agent, such duty shall not be recovered from the agent unless, in the opinion of Assistant Commissioner of Customs or Deputy Commissioner of Customs, the same cannot be recovered from the owner, importer, or exporter. So, Section 147, liability of principal and agent. So, Section 147, liability of principal and agent. Section 148, liability of agent appointed by the person in charge of a conveyance. Section 148, liability of agent appointed by the person in charge of a conveyance. So very important section, this one also. So subsection 1, where this act requires anything to be done by the person in charge of conveyance, it may be done on his behalf by the agent. Okay. Subsection 2. An agent appointed by the person in charge of a conveyance and any person who represents himself to any officer of customs as an agent of any such person in charge and is accepted as such by that officer shall be liable for the fulfillment in respect of the matter in question of all obligations imposed on such person in charge by or under this act or any law for the time being in force and to penalties and confiscation which may be incurred in respect of that matter. So, section 148, liability of agent appointed by the person in charge of a conveyance. Section 149, amendment of documents. Section 149, amendment of documents. Save as otherwise provided in section 30 and section 41. The proper officer may, in his discretion, authorize any document after it has been presented in the customs house to be amended in such form and manner within such time, subject to such restrictions and conditions as may be prescribed, provided that no amendment of a bill of entry or a shipping bill or the bill of export shall be so authorized to be amended after the imported goods have been cleared for home consumption or deposited in a warehouse or the export goods have been exported except on the basis of documentary evidence which was in existence at the time the goods were cleared, deposited, or exported as the case may be. So, without documentary evidence, you are not able to amend the bill of entry or shipping bill. Okay. Provided further that authorization or amendment may also be done electronically through the customs automated system on the basis of risk evaluation through appropriate selection criteria. Provided also that such amendments as may be specified by the board may be done by the importer or exporter on the common portal. So, Amendment may be done by the importer or exporter on the common portal. So Section 149 is amendment of documents. Section 149 is amendment of documents. Section 150 procedure of sale of goods and application of sale proceeds. Section 150 procedure for sale of goods and application of sale proceeds. So in the same subsection 1, where any goods not being confiscated goods are to be sold under any provisions of this act, they shall after notice to the owner thereof be sold by the public auction or by tender or with the consent of the owner in any other manner. Subsection 2, the proceeds of any such sale shall be applied. Clause A, firstly to the payment of the expenses of the sale. Clause B, next to the payment of the freight and other charges, if any payable in respect of the goods sold to the carrier, if notice of such charges has been given to the person having custody of the goods. Clause C, next to the payment of the duty, if any, on the goods sold. Clause D, next to the payment of the charges in respect of the goods sold due to the person having the custody of the goods. Clause E, next to the payment of any amount due from owner of the goods to the central government under the provisions of this act or any other law relating to customs. And the balance, if any, shall be paid to the owner of the goods. Provided that where it is not feasible or possible to pay the balance of sale proceeds, if any, to the owner of the goods within a period of 6 months from the date of sale of such goods or such further period as the principal commissioner of customs or commissioner of customs may allow, such balance of sale proceeds shall be paid to the central government. So section 150 is procedure for sale of goods and application of sale proceeds. Very important section, this one also in the Customs Act 1962. The Customs Act 1962 is implemented from 1st February 1963. Before that, there was the Sea Customs Act 1932 was in implementation. So, the Customs Act 1962 is very important if you are a customs broker or importer or exporter or who is in the logistics business. So without the Customs Act knowledge, you don't be able to clear the shipments from customs barrier. So you must have the knowledge about the Customs Act 1963 thoroughly to clear the goods from the customs barrier. So guys, in the next video, we are going to see sections from 151 onwards of the chapter number 17 miscellaneous from the Customs Act 1962. So guys, thanks for watching the video. Please listen videos again and again to improve your knowledge about the Customs Act 1962. Thank you guys.